Hey, welcome back. I was just looking out my apartment window here in Brooklyn, watching the snow come down, and it got me thinking about a different kind of cold. A deeper, more terrifying cold that settled over a mountain slope in Siberia more than 6 decades ago. A cold that preserved a mystery so baffling, so utterly strange, that we're still trying to warm our hands around the truth of it today. That feeling of being utterly exposed to something you can't understand. That's where our minds are going tonight. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. Tonight, we're revisiting one of the most infamous cold cases in the world, the Dyatlov Pass incident. But we're not just retreading the old theories. We're going to focus on one particular, chilling explanation that has gained serious traction in recent years. We're talking about the Anomalous Lights Theory. So, let's set the scene. January 1959. A group of 9 experienced Soviet ski hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, trek into the northern Ural Mountains. They're all students and graduates, engineers, athletes, the best and brightest. They're supremely competent. But by early February, all 9 are dead. When the search party finally finds their tent, it's cut open from the inside. The hikers fled, barefoot or in socks, into sub-zero temperatures. Their bodies were found scattered, some with horrific internal injuries but no external wounds, like they'd been subjected to a tremendous force. One was missing her tongue. There was radiation on their clothes. And the official investigation, after 3 months, simply closed the case, attributing it to a compelling natural force. For decades, the theories have piled up: avalanches, infrasound, military testing, even a Yeti attack. But as an engineer, what always nagged at me were the specific, almost surgical details. The lack of struggle in the tent, the pattern of the injuries, the radiation. And then, there are the witnesses. This is where the Anomalous Lights Theory truly begins. Because the Dyatlov group wasn't the only one to see something strange in those mountains that winter. Another ski group, camping about 50 kilometers south, reported seeing strange orange spheres in the sky to the north, in the direction of Kolit-Syakhl, the dead mountain, where Dyatlov's group perished. They described them as glowing spheres, moving with intelligence, not like any aircraft they knew. Indigenous Mansi hunters also reported similar sightings. And perhaps most compellingly, the investigation files themselves contain photographs from the search and rescue operation. And in some of those photographs, if you look at the night sky above the tent site, there are unexplained, glowing orbs. So let's walk this theory through. Imagine you're Igor Dyatlov. It's night, you're in your tent, and through the fabric, you see a strange, persistent glow. You hear no engine, just an eerie silence. You cut open the tent to get a better look. And there, hovering or moving in the sky, are these brilliant spheres of light. The immediate human reaction? Flight. Pure, unadulterated terror. You don't stop to put on your boots or your coat. You just run from the unknown. This explains the frantic, chaotic exit from the tent. Now, the group flees into the tree line about a mile away. They start a small fire. But some of them, maybe out of a sense of duty or a fading panic, decide to go back to retrieve supplies or investigate. This is the second act of the tragedy. As they attempt to return to the tent, something happens. Proponents of the lights theory suggest that these anomalous orbs could emit or be associated with powerful, pulsed electromagnetic fields or microwave radiation. Think about that. Directed microwave energy could, in theory, cause the internal injuries we saw, massive chest trauma, internal bleeding, while leaving the skin and outer body untouched, like being hit by a shockwave. It could explain the burns reported on one hiker. It could certainly account for the traces of radiation found on their clothing. And it might even explain the more grisly detail of the missing tongue, a consequence of rapid soft tissue damage from extreme cold or from a different kind of energy exposure. But here's the question that turns this from a simple UFO sighting into a deep, state-level mystery. If these were just lights in the sky, why the cover-up? The Soviet authorities sealed records, pressured families, and shut down discussion. An anomalous natural force is a bizarre conclusion to land on, unless you have a reason to avoid the real one. This is where my own perspective as an engineer and someone who grew up in a place with its own share of unexplained histories comes in. Bangladesh has its ghost stories, its tales of Shin and Beggar, entities that are often tied to specific, unexplained phenomena. What always connects these stories across cultures is the human reaction, the primal fear of the unknown that overrides all logic. The Dyatlov group's actions make no sense, unless you consider that they were confronted with something so far outside their frame of reference that logic simply shut down. Their expertise meant nothing. The anomalous lights theory is compelling because it ties together the physical evidence, the injuries, the radiation, with the psychological evidence of their panic and the corroborating witness testimonies. It presents a scenario where the hikers were victims of a phenomenon, perhaps a secret military technology test that went horribly wrong, or a genuine unknown atmospheric or plasma-based event. The Soviet cover-up makes sense in either case, to conceal a weapons test, or to avoid admitting they had no idea what truly happened on that mountain. As I look at the snow falling now, in the electric glow of New York City, I try to picture that remote, dark slope. Not just the cold, but the light. A light that didn't warm, but terrified. A light that didn't illuminate, but cast a deeper shadow over the fate of 9 young people. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a stark reminder that there are still forces in this world, whether born of nature or of man, that we do not understand. Forces that can turn a routine expedition into an eternal archive of the unexplained. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Unexplained Archive. If this journey into the cold left you with more questions, as it does for me, I invite you to explore our entire archive of mysteries. Share your thoughts with a friend, and if you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This is Ibnul J. Farabi from Light Not Studios. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next story. Visit us at https://www.lightnotstudios.com.